Hola, bonjour, bonjour, привет, ni hao, good day, hey, elastic, ciao, salut, labas, merma, ethanabara, hello. Culture is complicated. Comprehending any culture is a difficult task, especially tradition and custom different from your own. Walk into almost any workplace today and you'll likely find people of different national, racial, and cultural background. As an individual, we used to suffer culture shock and would travel from one country to the next, but today we suffer from multicultural shock just by sitting at your own desk. In the workplace, when people from different cultural backgrounds come together, it's likely we will stumble upon cultural roadblock because we all think differently about the purpose of business. Cross-cultural differences must be set aside for the sake of productivity, but first you have to recognize them. Culture is often described as the way we do things around here. So what exactly does that mean? There are several parameters that help us understand the way people do things around here. There are too many to mention them all here. But to get a flavor of cross-cultural communication, I'll mention 3 of them. First, the perception of time. In some countries like Germany, Switzerland, China, and Japan, punctuality is considered important, and being late will be considered to best rude and as worse from insult. However, in countries such as those of South America or Middle East, being on time does not carry the same sense of importance or urgency. Some people feel time is sacred, while others feel the time is fluid or even infinite. This really has implications for those who work in a deadline, schedule constructor, and work environment. Secondly, culture may be either direct or indirect in the way they communicate. Direct culture, like most Northern European, North American, and Anglo culture, say what they mean what they say. They rely more on content rather than on context. They give value to the written word rather than an old statement. To some people, they can appear extremely rude, unfriendly, and distant. Indirect culture rely heavily on nonverbal sound and refer indirect politeness and ambiguity. The most important thing that the culture is to preserve a relationship. This is particularly true of the Latin, Arab, Asian, and African culture. For example, a friend of mine was staying with a Chinese family, and once she stated that she intends to go out to town in the evening, the mother said, "There's no bus." This was said on 2 more occasions to my friend when she had indeed stayed in the bus. She then began to understand that by saying there's no bus, it was the mother's way of saying that she shouldn't go. Thirdly, culture may have stricted adherence to the rule, whilst others bend them to suit the situation. All the characteristics has implication in the workplace, and the more we understand about cultural differences, the better we are able to work more productively together. We should never denigrate any other culture, but rather help people to understand the relationship between their own culture and the dominant culture. When you understand another culture of a language, it doesn't mean that you have to lose your own. I was saying language is what we hear, culture is how we understand.